Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. Now, in a world where we are seeing protests against tourism, where we're seeing cruise ports say, whoa, too many cruise passengers, let's put on some restrictions, where we're seeing cruise ports put fees on cruise passengers to increase their revenue, we have a cruise port that has said, we're seeing a decline in cruise passengers, and we have a proposal to change that. And if it goes through, it is really good news for cruisers. At least I think it is. You see, we're talking about the Cayman Islands. And recently, they've noticed a decline in number of cruise passengers that they are getting and that they are predicting going into the future. You see, in the past, the Cayman Islands, on average, received around 1 million passengers visiting per year. But as we near the end of 2024, that number is looking like it's only going to reach 750,000 passengers. Okay, so a loss of 250,000 passengers, well, that's not acceptable. That's not what the Cayman Islands wants. That's a loss of tourism dollars. They want to keep the tourism money, and they are predicting those numbers will continue to go down. They're estimating a loss of 4% in tourism revenue each year after 2025 if they don't make some changes. So they have proposed some changes that, look, I think everybody will like. Now, as great as the Cayman Islands are, they do have a problem. They've got one major issue working against them, and that's the fact that they are a tender port, meaning there's no cruise dock. The ship has to drop anchor out in the bay. Everybody's got to pile in the small boats, get shuttled ashore, and then you've got to come back. Now, we all know tendering is not the best situation sometimes. There's long lines to get on those things. Everybody wants to be first. They're definitely not always convenient for those who have mobility issues. Overall, they're just kind of a general pain in the rear end. Now, another issue is that cruise ships have gotten larger. You're talking your Icon class, your Oasis class, your XL class cruise ships. These ships hold 6,000 plus cruise passengers. And look, they avoid tender ports because getting 6,000 people on and off a cruise ship by small boats is not easy. It's not convenient. And a lot of times it's just not feasible for the amount of time you have to spend in a cruise port. So these bigger ships, well, they avoid places like the Cayman Islands because it's not convenient. So as cruise lines make bigger ships, carry more passengers, they avoid places that are tender ports, hence the Cayman Islands losing cruise passengers, losing revenue, and they want to change it. So let's talk about the Cayman Island proposal. First and foremost, they are proposing to build a cruise dock, which means they would no longer be a tender port, which means they would be able to accept larger cruise ships or entice larger cruise ships to come there because passengers could simply go off the gangway and up the dock just like they do at other cruise ports. But they don't want the cruise ships to just dock and drop people off for the day. Nope, they want to entice cruise lines and cruise ships to spend the night, to do overnight stays in the Cayman Islands. Because overnight stays would, of course, mean people spend more time on the island. They do more activities. They spend more money. Hence, increases revenue. But there's a lot of cruise passengers that are always asking in different comment forums across the internet for cruise lines to do more overnight stays. So this could be a benefit to both passengers and to the Cayman Islands. But there's another little part of this proposal, one you don't hear a whole lot about, and that is they are proposing that the casino on board the cruise ship be allowed to stay open while the cruise ship is docked. Now, it'll be for certain times, limited times probably. Once the activities on land are winding down for the day, it won't be the whole time the ship is in port. But yeah, they are proposing that for cruise ships that come, dock, stay overnight, that the casinos would also be allowed to be open on board the ship. So those that like to gamble can gamble on board the ship. Those who want to spend more time on the island would be able to spend more time there because the ship is docked overnight. And those that don't like tender ports would be able to get off on the cruise dock. So to me, this is a win-win. Win-win for the cruise passengers, win-win for Cayman Islands, and a win for cruise lines. Everybody could benefit from this proposal. But that there is the key word. At this time, it is just a proposal. This still has to get voted on. So this still has to get approved. And the one part of it that absolutely has to get approved for any of it to go forward is the building of the new cruise pier. No new cruise pier, no overnights, no casinos staying open. But it's going to come down to, do they want the passengers? Do they want the revenue? Because if they do, building a cruise pier is going to be their absolute best option to get the larger ships in, to get more passengers in. If cruise lines are going to keep building bigger ships, ports are going to have to build facilities to accept the bigger ships if they want them. What do you guys think? How do you feel about Cayman Islands and their proposal? Is it good for cruising? Is it good for cruise passengers? Is it good for the Cayman Islands, who are now saying we want more cruise passengers? All right, and that is going to be our video for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.